welcome back to the podcast. It's Corling and Joey and Dave, and we're back again for another episode of the Spartan Boxing.
I want to welcome back all our
radio
fans.
show. Oh yeah, you have a special fan. I've been hearing.
Very special.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so it's been a little while since we've been back, and since the last time we had our podcast, there's been several great fights. Spence versus Porter, which I actually attended in LA, and I'll have some video up cutting in from the venue. I had fantastic seats. I was able to get them like the day before for like $125 a piece. And I was literally about 8
That's the norm with
rows.
PBC.
Yeah, I was 8 rows from the floor, and we had about 5 or 6 seats for ourselves, basically.
So boxing fans, we've had 5 seats, empty seats right next to us the whole night. It's been fantastic. A lot of room for us. Fight's about to start. Spence versus Porter, starting now.
In the section we were in, which was great. It was fantastic. The fight was The fight was very good, but I'm going to just mention something real quick, and maybe you guys agree with me, maybe not. From the venue, and you always know that when you're in the venue, when you're watching the fight live from the venue, some things look different than when you watch it on TV or, pre-record when it's recorded.
100%.
So
we experienced that when we all went to Golovkin and Jacobs.
Yeah, I will tell you my opinion and what I experienced there. I thought that Spence looked tired. I thought that he looked like he wasn't trained properly. I think that maybe there were some issues there that we later find out might have affected the event that happened to him later on with the accident that he suffered. He didn't look like he had the energy that I've seen him in other fights. And Porter, on the other hand, always comes in, top shape. And I think that that's one of the reasons why it made this fight as close as it was I don't think it should have been this close, because Porter's a good fighter, but I don't think he's at the level of what Spence is said to be. So I really thought going in that if Spence showed up, well trained and in top shape, that he would have gotten rid of Porter within 6, 7, 8 rounds.
Are you insinuating that maybe his lifestyle between camps leaked into his camp? And he wasn't as prepared as he would normally was?
Definitely. And I've seen this happen before many times from Wilfredo Gomez, before his fight with Salvador Sanchez. I've seen it happen with Roberto Duran, blowing up and drinking in between fights. I've seen it happen with a lot of boxers throughout. Most recently, Adrian Broner. We've seen him at the club drinking, and he just does not perform to his potential. And I think that that's maybe why this fight that we saw ended up being that close. And to be honest, I thought, from the venue that maybe Porter should have gotten either a draw or a close nod. But afterwards, I looked at it on TV, and it looked like maybe Spence edged it out. But, from the venue, that was my impression. My impression is that Spence was laboring. Spence was just not in the condition that we would expect him to be. And that may be an indication of the lifestyle, of maybe some drinking that we've been seeing on videos and YouTube and other sources. And, after that, obviously he had the accident. It's a miracle that this guy didn't lose his life, honestly. And I'm very happy that he was able to come out of it with his life. Who cares about anything else? Who cares about his boxing career with his life? He came out with his life, and he came out. There are some consequences to his actions. Apparently, there won't be as serious as they might have or could have been if there were some other situations happening. But maybe this is a wake-up call for him, because this was a very, very big dodge of a bullet that he had with this accident.
I want to go back and just touch on a couple of things that you
Go ahead.
pointed out. For the fight itself, watching at home on a shitty stream, from what I could see.
Was that a Corling stream?
Nope.
No, it was one of yours, buddy. It was one of yours.
Nitro.
It didn't look like he wasn't prepared. It didn't look like he was fatigued. It didn't. It really didn't. It looked like he had to weather a couple of storms created by Porter. Porter probably has one of the best motors in the sport. I bust Corling's chops all the time, but Porter comes to fight. He shows up every time, win or lose, and that much you have to give him credit for. And I don't think Spence has ever faced anybody that would keep coming and coming and coming the way Porter did. As far as the other stuff, as far as in camp, we know someone that knows him that doesn't believe that that's the case. Maybe the lifestyle between camps will affect a training camp. Maybe, putting on a little too much weight, it'll drain you a little bit in camp, which leaks into your fight. Maybe that's the case. I don't think he's as bad as someone like a Broner. As far as the accident goes, it was really stupid, and you're talking to someone who had just gotten hit by a drunk driver and I had a car totaled. So it's hard for me to feel bad. I'm glad he's okay, but it was a really stupid thing to do, and no seatbelt. Ended up saving his life, weird enough, but speeding with the top down, and the whole thing was just bad. And he's very, very lucky, and it looks like he will box again, because the first reports made you think that that wasn't going to be the case. All he did was lose some teeth. I mean, you can lose some teeth in a fight, so it might not be that bad. I mean, he's got to probably do a little cosmetic surgery in his mouth. And, he's probably not fighting in January. And I was proposing something in Facebook because it was supposed to be Danny Garcia. And, Manny's supposed to fight sometime in the beginning of the year. I know they talked about Mikey Garcia and Pacquiao. Why not just give Pacquiao a real challenge? Because I don't think Mikey's ever going to really compete at 147. You could put Danny, and Manny will fill in, and Danny will still get a title shot like he would have against Spence. And it just makes sense, But, some people don't do things that make sense. Corling, all yours.
Now, I was really pleased with the fight. I love both guys. Love Sean P. I love Errol. Just as two real genuine dudes, and two dudes who I just really respect their fight styles. It was that clash of styles. You knew that it was going to be a good fight. Because Sean always brings it, and it's not like Errol takes a lot of back steps, or he doesn't have a negative boxing style. So I was real pleased with it.
He did get backed up. Spence did get backed up at times.
And the thing is that when somebody attacks you with the intensity of Shawn Porter, you're going to have to back up at some point, right? It looked like Errol was trying to work out the kinks, figure out the angles that he can kind of attack Sean at, because Sean was really, really coming, and he was prepared, like you knew he would be. But it seems like he studied as well as physically prepared. Sean just gave an amazing effort. And that tells me also how good Errol is, because, basically he outshone Sean Porter. There's this, and I was making a joke on the page. There's this fighter, or a character in the video game Mortal Kombat. His name is Shang Tsung, and he can basically morph into any one of the characters and beat you at your fighting style. And that's exactly what he did to Shawn Porter. He outshone Sean Porter. He didn't fight like he fought against, Mikey or Kell Brook. He basically slugged it out with Shawn Porter, and that's something that nobody is willing to do and no one is able to do. So hats off to Errol.
Thurman did, though. Thurman kind of went back.
Thurman took a lot of punishment and a lot of backward steps and was up against the ropes a hell of a lot, if I can remember, in order to get his shots off. And I thought that fight was a draw, by the way. So I didn't see it as close as other people did.
Of course you did.
Man, right. Texas all day, every day. But let's get into, the more serious part of it. Errol's gonna have to get it together. And this is somebody who's one of his most ardent supporters, one of his most vociferous supporters. You know, the drinking, it's whatever. I don't think it's something that a fighter should do, you know, especially because you have to manipulate your body, you have to make weight, and alcohol just makes you soft, man. Like it takes away your testosterone. So you don't want that. But for him to be visibly drunk on video more times than once is a sign that it probably happens way more often than it should, right? Getting in the car like that, look, man, I'm not gonna 100% chastise him for that because really all of us have been there. You know, we've all been there. We've all been irresponsible. We've all been stupid. But at the same time, to do that with the weight of the city of Dallas on you, with your fans out there, with people who are really in your corner, got to be a lot more responsible than that.
The weight of the city's on the football team, by the way.
Exactly.
Let me
Whatever, man.
Let me say something about what you guys are saying here. The only thing that I see that kind of contradicts the argument that Spence was fighting Porter's fight. To me, I mean, Spence got hit a lot in that fight. He got hit a lot, and he got hit pretty hard.
If he fought Porter's fight, it's because he was made to fight Porter's fight.
And I agree with Joey on that. I don't think that he just wanted to fight Porter's fight, and that's why I'm saying that maybe this lifestyle did have something to do with it, because maybe he wasn't able to do what he wanted to do and had to conform to what Porter was bringing to the fight. That aside, I think I agree with you, Corling. This guy is showing up on video. And you say that maybe he's not as bad as Broner, but man, Broner doesn't always show up drunk on video. I think
Spence, no, but he always shows up dumb though.
Sure, but that's his gimmick. But the way that Spence has shown up in some of these videos, he's a little bit more than just buzzed. I mean, he's just slurring his words and being incoherent and. You know, Tom talking about something about 15 when I can't even remember what it was, but it was,
I remember that.
Yeah, it was funny, but he
couldn't do math.
Yeah, he was pretty drunk.
Yeah.
And, and to think that somebody like that is going to get behind the wheel, it's concerning because it's not just his life that he takes in his hands; it's other people out there that he could have injured or hurt. You know, and
he was fortunate on a lot of levels.
Man. You don't want that on your conscience.
Well, we're just lucky that he's lucky that he's okay and that he can continue fighting, and we're lucky that we're going to get to see him fight again.
So, do you think? When do you think we'll see him again? Do you think we'll see him mid next year?
A year. I think it'll be a year.
I think so too.
With the way that he's talking, seems like he's ready to get right back in there. I think
have you heard of him? Have you heard of him? I mean, I don't even know if he's shown up.
I mean, if he gets right back in there, he's not going to need a mouthpiece.
Yeah, I was gonna say though, what I did hear is that he's gonna have a tune-up before Danny Garcia, you know, and that's a problem too. The accident really impeded progress because, you know, Danny, even though nobody wanted to fight, is still a good matchup. You know, it's a high caliber, stay busy opponent. You know, I'll go ahead and say that. But he's gonna have like an Ocampo level, or maybe even a little higher than that, a Lamont Peterson level fight before he fights Danny Garcia, which impedes the progress in the
not Lamont again.
Not Lamont again.
No. I'm saying a Lamont caliber, right?
Level, yeah.
You know, so it's it's one of those things. I mean, let's just hope.
Or maybe he just gets drunk and calls Uber and then fights the driver.
That's Oscar's deal. That's not.
There you go.
That's something different.
But, we're gonna get that.
But hey, listen. We also have to take in consideration that he's getting a misdemeanor for this, because of his alcohol level was somewhere between 8 and 15%. And
it was right there. It was 0.15.
I can guarantee you he may not do jail time or anything, but he's probably going to get probation. So we'll have to consider that
That's why I'm going to say a year. I
Yeah.
don't think he's going to fight for a year.
Yeah, I think that I can't remember. I looked up the statute. I can't remember what the probation period is, but it could be anywhere between 6 months and a year, or 2, I think. But whatever it is, he'll have to meet the requirements of the probation, and a lot of times they can't even leave their county unless they have explicit permission to do so. And if he starts violating that probation, he's, and sometimes,
I think he gets a lot of love down there. I think he'd get permission if it came to, him just earning his living.
Right. But what I'm saying
there was
is,
a judge that let Floyd fight before he went to jail.
Sure. But what I'm saying is that some people just, take stuff like that for granted and start making bad decisions and start violating their probation. And that's something he doesn't want to do. So whoever's around him needs to say, listen, if this is what you got, be fortunate that you got it, and just finish your probation, try to get early termination, try to get all the conditions of your probation met, and then go ahead and do whatever it is that you want to do. Because if not, if he falls into the trap, the probation trap, forget it. He may end up, doing time for unnecessarily, is what I'm saying. So that's what I think about that fight. Now,
I'm kind of not worried about Spence. I think, I think he comes from a good home, a good family, and I think he's gonna, do what he has to do to get back on the right track. He looks like
grounded. He's grounded.
He was with the wrong people, and I've heard that he was in the wrong parts of town and hanging with the wrong people, and the money maybe got to his head a little, and
right.
Let's just see. We can't. I'm not going to say he's not going to learn. I would like to think that he would, especially because of his upbringing, and we'll see.